A friend of mine told me about this way of thinking about work projects that I've many years ago, and I found it really useful. And I wanted to share it here because it might be useful to others. The reason it came to mind is because I've been thinking about this project to learn programming and what was useful for me and what worked, what didn't. And one of the things was thinking of this project in one of these categories. So essentially what it is thinking about any given work project as one of two categories. The first is in terms of like a heavy lift. So this is like the analogy you can use is like moving a couch up a flight of stairs. You can't move it up half the flight and then walk away, come back a couple of days later and then finish moving it up to the next flight of stairs. That doesn't really work. So it's the kind of thing that you have to like start and finish one big heavy lift. The second one is a simmering project. So this is something that you can leave on the back burner of your life, pull it in, do a little bit of something, and then put it back on the back burner. And if you leave it there for a few days, that's totally fine. So the thing that's important is to understand what kind of project you're dealing with. And when I was setting out to do programming, because I had to learn a huge body of knowledge and it was brand new to me, I knew that this would be a heavy lift project. And by heavy lift, what I mean is you need lots of time, focus time to work on it and to think about it, because you're making so many connections. You need time to sort of put all these little things together. The whole landscape of that world is very unknown to you. And so you have to spend a lot of time exploring different things, drawing lines. You're going down different rabbit holes because around every corner is something you don't understand. And of course you can do this with an hour or 2 hours, but it's much, much harder. And so thinking about it as a heavy lift where you give yourself a lot of time to do that work, to make those connections, makes it much easier. So when I was setting out to do programming, I knew this would be a heavy lift. And so I worked my life out in a way where I was essentially taking time off from doing that, from working. I took a bunch of time off and focused on this. And that now I'm kind of like going back into the work world, which was like what my intention was now that I got the project to this point. And so at this point, the project has become a simmering project. And what that means to me is that now I know enough about programming and my app and everything I did that I can just bring that project off the back burner for an hour or 2 hours and still get a bunch of stuff done. I can also think about that project when I'm not studying it and plan things before I actually start programming it. So now it's kind of gone from being a heavy lift project to a simmering project. And that's why I can shift my focus back to working as a product person in a company somewhere, because now an hour or two in an evening, I can actually make progress on the side project. But I don't think I would have been able to do that had I not taken the time to do this heavy lift. And of course, that's just a personal thing for me. And I thought it important to make that heavy lift possible. So I took that time. Anyway, hopefully that's useful. I definitely find this framework useful to think about, because if you mismatch and you have a heavy lift project, but you treat it as a simmering project, life can be much more difficult, and then vice versa as well. So anyway, I wanted to share that. Maybe it's useful to some folks.